and welcome to Bickering Book Reviews. I'm Sarah,
And I'm Becky.
and today we're talking about Sisters in the Wind by Angeline Boulley. This is the third book in, I don't know if the series has like a series title, but the third book in the Firekeeper's Daughter world. I am going to say this before I forget. I got this as an arc I got it off of both NetGalley and Libro, and I ended up listening to it. So
That's what I did too.
I read it a little bit, but I mostly listened to it.
Time got away from me. I listened to it while I painted my house.
Right. Okay, so this is about Lucy, who lived with her father. Her mother just didn't make a good mother, so wasn't in her life. But then Lucy's father ends up dying. Before he dies, he has kind of like this longish battle with cancer. He ends up marrying someone new who's supposed to kind of take care of Lucy. That doesn't end up working out. So once he dies, Lucy she does go into the foster care system. And once in the foster care system, she kind of sees that there are good situations and not so good situations. And you kind of go along with her through the different foster care homes. A good majority of the book kind of events surround Lucy's situation when she's at a group home. And in the group home, there are several other teens there her age, who are also part of the foster care system. So, living with Mrs. and Mr. And there seems to be in this group home a higher occurrence of teen pregnancy. So, like, there's kind of a mystery going on with that. But also, then we're flashing forward in Lucy's situation in the future where she is out on her own, and an explosion happens, and so she's trying to run away from kind of where she's at, and she hooks up with when she's in this explosion, she gets hurt, and so then she hooks up with Donis, because Lucy is actually the sister to Lily, who was Donis's best friend in the first book. And so Donis and Jamie from Firekeeper's Daughter are helping Lucy in the present, kind of work through. I say present, but really it's set in the early 2000s. But anyway, I digress.
I feel like the storyline with Donis and Jamie is her present, and then they're flashing back to show us how they get there.
And I think we definitely need to come out the gate and say this is going to have spoilers. I feel like we can't really talk about this book without there being like spoilers to some of the other books in the series and just like in general.
I'm gonna try. I will say, so we saw Angeline Boulley. Did this thing at ALA, where the American Library Association conference, where you paid to go to this thing, and teen authors went around to the tables and talked to it. And I think how Angeline Boulley explained it was something basically like something happens and she wakes up in the hospital, and these two people show up that want to help her, and it's Donis and Jamie. So I'm mixed on it. First of all, I will say every time I have met Angeline Boulley and just seen her talk, I'm like, I wish I could be a grown up like that. Like, she is just like so like put together and impressive, and I'm worried that I have food in my hair sometimes. But I will say, like, so I had a mixed reaction because the things that they address about what happens to Native American children, and about how, like, you're taught that it's been fixed, but it's not fixed, and how it's getting worse. And these encounters that Lucy has in foster care and what she's going through, I think is so powerful. And I think it's something that needs to be talked about more. However, if you're looking at it as just like a mystery, I had some issues with the mystery.
Well, I think you're also like kind of hitting on like kind of where I'm feeling about it. Like when we're talking about it like as, I don't know, like a leisure book, like a leisure read, I have thoughts, like I have feelings. And then when you're talking about it like academically or like, I don't know, like thought wise, like I have other thoughts. Like, yes, it is really addressing kind of these, talking about these issues that I'm unfamiliar with, that I appreciate getting to learn about, that um, kind of clearly explore some other kind of avenues that I'm not as familiar with. Like, and I have an appreciation for that. As a leisurely book, I hated the ending. And I know that you saw it coming. And I'm not going to get into like why I hated the ending. I feel like when you read it, like you'll know.
I feel
But
like
like,
if you had Warrior Girl unearthed, you're not going to be surprised by the
well, but I
ending.
also feel like I just have this like this overwhelming need to like hope that things will be good. Like I just need it.
I like a good happy ending.
And like I will cling to that kind of desperation, and like this did not have the happy ending that I wanted. I mean, like there were some happy parts about it, but like gosh, when that happened I was just like, mm.
But the
But
thing is,
also go
like
ahead.
reading it and and particularly like the author's note where she's talking about foster care and Native American children and like it makes you like it made me mad. Like I want to call my representative, but my representative doesn't care. But so like that like I did have an emotional response to it, but then I'm like, oh, here's another coincidence and how are these characters connected and why is this going on?
Right, and I think that gets back to like story I feel one way, academically, I guess. I feel another way. Like story-wise, it hit on one of my pet peeves, and I'm gonna say this, but I'm not gonna say who it relates to. But it seemed to me, in at least two different instances, that you have sex one time and you get pregnant, and that is not how life works.
I mean, it
I mean, it
can
does
happen.
sometimes. It does sometimes, but not to the level that was happening in this book. And like that just like it irritates me. It reminds me of Twilight, and I don't want to be reminded of Twilight.
So
Anyway,
like yeah, I'm like I don't even know how I feel about it. And like I did enjoy revisiting with Jamie and Donis.
oh, completely. But getting back to like the one in pregnant thing, but I think that also speaks to a greater issue as far as like anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Like there were a lot of like coincidences that didn't feel kind of natural or didn't seem kind of realistic. And like I feel like you don't need to lean heavy on kind of those over dramatic, melodramatic things to still get your point across and to still kind of talk about the topic that you want to talk about.
There were a lot of characters that had connections and I couldn't figure out how they would have been connected. Like there
Yeah.
was just a lot of
Yeah.
like coincidences like where this person I knew from my past is now knows this person and then these people
Yeah.
know these people. And I didn't encounter and like I don't feel like those connections were explained as well as I would like.
Well, and I think the more we talk about it, I feel like the more of those issues you saw at the ending. I feel like it came up more at the ending, and I think that was kind of more my frustration with it because it felt like by the end it kind of felt like what those old movies where they like tie the lady to the railroad tracks kind of concept. Like that's kind of how it felt like.
Well, and honestly, like I preferred the present day stuff way more than the flashbacks.
Yeah, that's also true.
I don't really have anything else to say. Like, and it's
Yeah.
hard, like I said, because like I did have an emotional reaction to the material. I did get mad about what she was talking about, and I did see that like this is an issue, and you're seeing it through Lucy's experience, and I'm like, yes, like this needs to be fixed. And I think it's probably just gotten worse. Well, actually, it says it in the author's note. It's just gotten worse, and keeps getting worse. And we're talking about for 100 years, and like that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
But the mystery aspect of it just didn't work for me.
Well, and that's why like this book is really hard, not hard for me, but like this book was really kind of interesting for me because it almost turned like Angeline Boulley up until this point was an automatic yes, I am going to read. But after reading this book, like at this point where I'm at in the journey with these books, I don't know, I might have to consider it. Like it might not be like one of the things that like I go out of like I rush to go get.
Well, you know what's weird is Fire's Keeper's Daughter was based, I think, in 99 or 98. And then Warrior Girl Down takes place like, let's say, like 20 years later. not maybe not, but my point is like Firekeeper's Daughter happened here, Warrior Girl what was it called? I'm sorry, the other book happened here. This book happens here. It's kind of like it's weird that it's jumping around.
Well, but I would be okay with it jumping around. I don't know. I don't
Which
know.
maybe
But
that's
like
part of the
but my
overarching
other thing
mystery.
is like why? Like why aren't we setting it in present date is my question.
Well, I think that when Firekeeper's Daughter came out, it was set when she started writing it.
Oh yeah, 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 we did know that.
I feel like that's yeah. We should just rate this.
Okay, so our rating scale starts with 5 unicorns. It goes down to 2 unicorns. If we don't like it, it doesn't get a horn and is therefore a horse. Where are
This is
you?
me thinking. I'm gonna go three because like the story is important. I did have that emotional reaction, but the mystery just didn't work for me.
This one's hard for me to rate. I'm fluctuating between a 2 and a 3 because like story wise, I didn't like it, but topic wise, it was important. I was drawn in by that. I did learn something. Like, and I think that's the other, like, I like learning things when I read books, whether they be fiction or nonfiction. I just think that I'm gonna have to give it a 2. Like, I do because I really wasn't a fan of the story, and yeah, not a fan. So, that is where we are, and I've messed up titles before, so I'm not gonna mess up this title. That is where we are on Sisters in the Wind by Angeline Boulley.
And we'll see you around.
See ya.
Bye.